Haunting secrets of Amy Winehouse autopsy revealed. For Sinister Testimonies from legal Amy Sarah Thompson read the headline with her heart pounding in her chest. The chilling words felt like ice running through her veins. Haunting secrets. Those two words lingered long after she clicked on the link. Questions raced through her mind. What had happened to her once celebrated neighbor, Amy Winehouse? As she sat at her worn desk in the little Elmwood newspaper office, her hands trembled slightly. She could already feel the echoes of unyielding whispers surrounding their typically peaceful suburb, shadows creeping along the uniformly bright picket fences, threatening to shatter their naive tranquility. The rumors floated through the town like ghostly specters. She recalled how Amy had glimmered like art at community gatherings. Yet, even in flashing lights, there were unspoken clouds overhead, dark and heavy. As excitement twisted into dread, Sarah dug into the unnerving details of how Amy had died, an alarming series of unexplained deaths creeping with sinister ease through Elmwood, a place where neighbors casually exchanged smiles and children rode carefree down the streets. As she sifted through court records and obscure social media posts, her phone buzzed. She hesitated, the chill from its vibration rooting her to the spot. "Stop digging," the anonymous message read, sending icy electricity crackling through her spine. Paranoia? Maybe. But as shadows loomed larger with each tick of the clock, she felt the walls closing in. There were children's laughter faintly resonating outside her window, distant and innocent. Could it last? A knot tightened in her stomach. That evening, barely managing to shake the exhale of terror, she walked past houses where lights flickered ominously in the otherwise serene dusk. Elmwood was a town where nothing felt wrong until it did. Distrust spread like wildfire, throbbing through the once warm conversations over fences and pathways. She learned through hushed tones in the barbershop that the local constable, the very man she once felt safe around, might be hiding something darker than mere negligence. Each encounter left her hands clammy, eyes scanning corners like a hunted animal. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The urgency bogged her down as she approached her brother's laughter, a sound that felt oddly out of place in her growing paranoia. Jake's joy painted a shadow on the canvas of her dread, but even his familiar presence couldn't stave off the prickling fear creeping around the edges of her mind. Just then, she found herself standing before an old, decrepit house, the air heavy with history, abandonment pulsing from its structure. It felt like a place where secrets accumulated like dust. As she pushed the door creaking inward, the dim light revealed long-forgotten memories tangled with betrayal. A chill swept through her, constricting her throat. Her instincts screamed that she shouldn't be there, yet the swirling chaos beckoned her deeper. The layers of betrayal crawled over her skin, a suffocating blanket of foreboding. Questions echoed around her. Would finding the answers bring salvation or unearth the very darkness threatening to swallow Elmwood whole? Just as she prepared for confrontation, the wind howled, carrying a mournful sigh, warning her that some secrets are better left buried. The shadows inched closer, and with her heart racing, she stood on the precipice of horror, one question flooding her jagged mind. Would she escape the unholy truth, or would the darkness claim her entirely? The air felt thick, as if it were suffocating her with the weight of the house's dark past. Sarah inhaled sharply, tasting the dust that lay heavy on her tongue. Every creak of the floorboards beneath her feet felt like a gasp, the lonely breath of a forsaken spirit that yearned to be heard. In the gloom, she spotted remnants of old furniture, cloaked in layers of cobwebs that glistened faintly in the fading light. Instinctively, she wrapped her arms around herself, as if to shield her from memories that should have long been forgotten. The whispers grew louder, wrapping around her like an invisible noose. A flicker of movement caught her eye, sending her nerves into overdrive. It was only a shadow, but in that moment it was as real as the thundering of her heart. "What are you doing here?" A voice crackled, drawing her attention. It came from a figure at the end of the hallway, obscured by shadows. A woman with hollow eyes regarded her, a knowing smirk playing on her cracked lips. "You shouldn't have come. You're too late, you know." Fear surged within her, paralyzing her limbs. "What do you mean?" Sarah managed to stammer, each word feeling like a desperate attempt to claw her way back to reality. The woman stepped closer, the dim light catching the sheen of her hair, coarse and unkempt. "There are things you'll never understand. Secrets hide where light can't reach." Her gaze flickered down the hall, and Sarah's heart sank as she followed her gaze. She could see a door at the end, slightly ajar, a thin stream of darkness spilling out like a beckoning hand. "I have to know," Sarah whispered, the words spilling from her trembling lips. "What happened to Amy? What happened to all of them? The truth is buried within these walls," the woman hissed, her breath cold like frost. "Each sound you hear, each shadow you see, they're all tied to that night. You dig too deep and the ground will swallow you whole." Sarah's mind raced. Each death, each unsettling whisper, could they all lead back to this moment? As she debated whether to turn back, the woman's laughter echoed through the hallway, chilling her to the bone. It was a sound that twisted her insides like a knife. Summoning her courage, she took a step forward toward the door. It was time to confront whatever lay beyond, to peel back the layers of the unknown. She heard the woman's derisive laugh again, but she pushed through the surge of fear. The door was an invitation to truth, and nothing would stop her from finding it. With her heart pounding like a war drum, Sarah reached for the handle. The brass felt cold against her skin, as if it too warned her to steer clear. She lunged, wrenching the door wide open. Inside, the room was eerily quiet, its air thick with the scent of decay. Shadows danced along the walls, flickering under a single, weak light bulb. Papers strewn across a desk looked like they had been hastily discarded. In the far corner, a tattered photograph hung crookedly, caught in a web of mystery that begged to be unraveled. But just as she stepped inside, a sudden crash behind her made her whirl around, heart in her throat. The door slammed shut. Trapped, panic clawed at her chest. "Let me out," she shouted, slamming her fists against the weathered wood. Yet it remained stubbornly sealed, no escape, no solace. A low growl echoed through the room. Her breath hitched as she turned back to face the darkness, heart racing. Behind the desk, a pair of gleaming eyes glinted with malevolence. Someone or something was watching her. "Welcome to the truth," Sarah, the woman's voice murmured, slithering through the darkness. "Let us see how deep you're willing to go." As the shadows closed in, she realized she might have awakened a horror far worse than she anticipated. The question pulsed in her mind like a drumbeat. Was she ready to unearth the real horror of Elmwood? The air in the room grew dense, mixing the scent of mold with a hint of something sweet, sickly. It suffocated Sarah's senses, slipping around her like an oily fog. She could feel the tension vibrating through her limbs as the eyes in the darkness narrowed with predatory focus. Each heartbeat echoed in her ears, a steady drumbeat of panic. "Who are you?" she called out, forcing her voice to break through the murky veil of dread. The walls seemed to lean in, waiting for a reply, hungry for the sound of her despair. A figure emerged from behind the desk, moving silently like a shadow. It was tall and wiry, wrapped in shadows that made it indistinguishable from the dark. The gleaming eyes, now almost blinding in their intensity, glared at her with an unsettling hunger. "Are you ready to join us?" The voice rasped, chilling her to the bone. It wasn't the woman from before. This was something else, something far worse. Sarah stumbled backward, her palms hitting the door, still locked tight. "No, please. I just want to know what happened," she shouted, desperation lacing her voice. But the words fell flat, swallowed by the oppressive gloom. "Knowledge comes at a price," the creature hissed, crawling closer, each movement deliberate and slow. There was a sickly grin that stretched across its face, revealing rows of jagged teeth that gleamed in the dim light. and you've already begun to pay. As it drew nearer, the faint flicker of light caught the edges of the tattered photograph on the wall. Sarah's pulse quickened. She turned, needing to know what secrets lay buried in that haunting image. She scarcely breathed as she stepped closer, drawn like a moth to a flame. The photograph, once colorful, was now faded and stained a group of smiling faces, frozen in time. There, prominently in the center, was Amy, eyes sparkling with life and yet so hauntingly distant. Sarah felt an icy finger trace the outline of her spine. Was that fear or was it something more? "Amy," she murmured, "what happened to you?" She could almost hear the echoes of laughter, feel the camaraderie of those carefree moments. But shadows flickered in the corners, darkening what remained of their joy. Suddenly, the lights flickered ominously, plunging the room into darkness. Panic swelled up and Sarah's chest tightened with fear. The growl intensified, echoing off the walls like a warning. "Are you prepared to uncover the truth?" The voice taunted, now coming from everywhere and nowhere. The truth about Amy. The truth about all of them? Just then, like a nightmare pulling her deeper, the walls seemed to shimmer, revealing images of others' faces twisted in despair, mouths screaming silently, trapped in eternal torment. The air buzzed with cries for help. Each one seemed to reach for her, clawing at the edges of her sanity. "No, this isn't real," she screamed, clutching her head, trying to block out the cacophony. The shadows create a choreography of horror, all beckoning her to listen. But amidst the chaos, Sarah felt something shift within her. A flicker of determination ignited in her gut. "I'll find the truth for Amy. For them," she yelled, shaking off the wave of dread. The darkness twisted and writhed but remained unyielding. "What if the truth reveals that you are the next victim?" The creature hissed, its laughter curdling her blood. Sarah's resolve hardened. "I'll face it. Whatever comes, I will not hide from the darkness anymore." The lights flickered back to life, and the room trembled as shadows writhed aggressively. In that moment, she understood she wasn't just fighting against the darkness. She was fighting for everything that had ever been lost in Elmwood. She stepped forward. The floorboards snapped in furious response, the growl rising to a deafening roar. The creatures of the shadows screamed, rushing at her, overwhelming her senses. She steadied herself. This was it, the moment of truth. But as darkness surrounded her, engulfing her in terror, she felt a cold grip on her arm. "You shouldn't have come," the woman's voice whispered, just as the unsettlement of truth began. Its sinister revealed in the abyss of despair. Sarah screamed as the shadowy tendrils wrapped tightly around her, pulling her deeper. The question loomed, echoing in the emptiness. How many truths could one's soul bear before it broke? The shadows tightened around Sarah, a chill seeping into her bones as the whisper faded into the chaotic darkness. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, to escape the tangible horror pressing in on her. But she couldn't run, not now. "Let go of me," she gasped, struggling to shake free of the vice-like grip. Panic surged through her veins, heating her skin even as the cold clung to her, like a lover unwilling to release her. She could hear the rhythmic pulse of her heart, each thump crashing against the cage of her chest like a warning bell. "Knowledge comes at a cost," the rasp echoed in that ominous voice, swirling around her, drowning her thoughts. Darkness pulsed, revealing glimpses of memories she hadn't known she had. Faces twisted in agony appeared before her like ghosts at a banquet of despair, their mouths gaping wide but offering no sound. "Please just let me go," she begged, tears stinging her eyes. The creatures in the shadows writhed, entwined with the whispers begging for freedom, for peace. "What do you want from me?" The figure stepped closer, its shimmering eyes boring into her soul, revealing depths of suffering. "To uncover the truth, you must confront the darkness within yourself." It leaned in, the scent of decay washing over her, so strong that bile rose in her throat. "You have questions. Questions that will destroy you." Images flashed in her mind: Amy's laughter, her smile bright and shadowed by a history that had swallowed her whole. "You're lying. Amy was my friend. The creature laughed, low and guttural, vibrating through her bones. Was she, or merely a stepping stone to your own downfall? Suddenly, Sarah gasped. The room shifted wildly as the wall behind the figure dissolved into a grim mural of Amy's life. Each stroke revealed moments that once brought joy, yet morphed into nightmares. The vibrant nights turned into hazy, drug-laden shadows. Laughter drowned in screams for help. "What happened to you, Amy?" she whispered, chills racing down her spine as the images pulled her closer. The ghosts of the lost reached out, fingers stretched, pleading for solace. "Why didn't you escape? You're too late to save her." The voice reverberated, cold and heartless. "You've already begun your own descent." A piercing scream shattered the air, and Sarah turned her head, desperate, searching for its source. But she soon realized it came from within her own mind. "Stop. Are you aware of how many have walked this path?" The creature pressed, inching even closer, sharp teeth gleaming like daggers. "Join them, Sarah. Become one with their pain." "No," she roared, pushing against the grip that held her. Her hands fought at the darkness, fingers clawing at the air, desperate for release. Suddenly, a flash of light erupted, blinding her momentarily and causing a shriek from the shadows. It illuminated her surroundings, revealing not just the ghostly figures, but also the remnants of lives lost, forgotten faces, now enraged forms clinging to their chains of torment. "Foolish girl," the creature snarled, seemingly rocked by the light. "You can't hold on to hope here. Hope is what got them trapped. Hope is death." Bursting forth, Sarah felt a surge of energy, a primal scream clawing at her throat. "I want to be a victim. I will face my truth." The shadows recoiled, hissing in anger. "Then you must confront what lies within you. It's closer than you think." And with that, as the lights flickered and dimmed, the room throbbed once more with a pulse of darkness, now wrapping around her like a shroud. "What do you mean?" she shot back, heart racing. "What do I need to face?" But as the shadows around her surged with newfound energy, Sarah understood this battle was no longer just for the truth about Amy. It was about herself, the reflection of a past she had buried, now clawing to escape. The creature smiled wickedly as the darkness gathered thickly around her, the air crackling with impending doom. "You'll learn soon enough. Every secret has its price." Sarah, a primal fear gripped her heart as she suddenly realized just how deeply her soul might be intertwined with the darkness, and what that darkness was willing to do to keep her tethered. Would she break free, or would she become another whisper lost in the shadows? The truth loomed, heavy and suffocating, waiting for her next step. As the last of the light flickered, leaving them suspended in a now impenetrable black, she asked herself one last question. What secrets are hidden within me? The darkness shuddered as Sarah felt its grip tighten, forming icy tendrils around her limbs. Each breath she took was a struggle filled with the raw taste of fear mingled with the scent of decay. Shadows danced, their forms flickering, mocking her every movement. She could feel the pressure building like a tempest about to break. "Face it," the creature's voice rang out, now a sinister symphony echoing through her mind. "Your secrets are a map, and they lead straight to your heart. Are you ready to explore?" "No," she shot back, desperation flooding her tone. "I want to play your games." But the shadows merely laughed, a dissonant chorus that resonated deep within her. They pulsated, altering her surroundings, pulling fragments of her past to the forefront. Voices from lost moments rose, drowning out her thoughts. Each one carried a name, a memory each ignited with pain. Sarah remembered the last time she saw Amy. The haunting familiarity of that fateful night washed over her like a wave, suffocating and relentless. Bright lights had surrounded them, laughter filling the air. But in her gut, she felt something had shifted. An unshakable sense of doom had lurked in the corners of their joy. "Why didn't I see it?" she whispered, dropping her voice as though half-heartedly attempting to hide her vulnerability. "Because you were blind," the creature hissed, its form slick against the thick shadows. "You wrapped yourself in denial, ignoring the warning signs. Does that sound familiar?" "Shut up," she screamed, clenching her fists. "Stop using her against me." But the creature thrived on her pain, pulling at the strings of her heart like a composer with an orchestra. "You think Amy was the only one lost to this darkness? You carry her burden, but it's much heavier than you know. All your friends, they're counting on you to face the truth." The shadows surged in response, their presence curling around her like barbed wire. Sarah felt her breath hitch a tight knot forming in her throat. An image burst forth. Amy's tear-streaked face, pleading for understanding, for help. It twisted into something grotesque, a reflection of Sarah's own fears and failures. "No, no," she swayed, fighting the urge to drown in memories. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can. But first you must claim your darkness." In that moment, Sarah knew surrender was not an option. Every lash of despair ignited her resolve. "I refuse to let this define me," she cried, pushing against the suffocating tendencies of the shadows. A flicker of determination ignited within her. She turned her gaze, searching for a glimpse of light amid the chaos. Could she be the one to shatter the dark? To break free? Tendrils of darkness writhed at her defiance, whispering threats in a cacophony of fear. "You are simply a vessel. You owe your life to us now. You think you can escape?" In a moment of sheer desperation, Sarah summoned the fragmented memories of joy, of laughter with Amy that had felt so alive. She let those moments fill her heart. She fed them with determination. "I am not just a victim. I am here to break the cycle." With that proclamation, a pulse of warmth spread through her, driving back the dark. The shadows recoiled, screeching in fury, but lingering fear clutched at her throat. Would this new strength last? Or would the darkness engulf her once more, deeper this time? The air crackled. Electric shock rippled across her skin. Breathing heavily, she stared defiantly into the swirling void. What's next? Unfathomable rage surged around her, and the figure laughed maniacally. "Welcome to the beginning of your reckoning, Sarah. Each step forward could lead to your freedom or your demise." As the darkness pulsed violently, new forms began to emerge, raw and undefined. Sarah could feel their desperation, their suffering as if they were begging for salvation through her. And then, leading them was a silhouette, unmistakably familiar. "Can you see it?" the creature whispered, sinister glee dripping from every word. "What if I told you Amy's truth is intertwined with yours?" The very air thickened, a chilling anticipation suffocating her. Sarah's heart raced wildly as she pondered the consequences of the coming revelation. Would it offer clarity, or would it shatter the very fabric of her reality? A shudder ran through Sarah's body as the familiar silhouette stepped closer. She squinted through the festering shadows, her heart pounding primal warnings. "Amy?" she breathed, hope and dread coiling together in her chest. The figure stopped just beyond her reach, too ethereal to grasp yet too real to dismiss. "Yes, it's me," Amy's voice echoed, trembling and low, perfectly blending with the darkness that enveloped them. "But you have to understand I am not what you think." The shadows flickered anxiously, as if eager to consume her words. Sarah stood frozen, torn between the yearning to embrace her friend and the overwhelming dread that it might not be her at all. "Come closer," Sarah pleaded. But even as she spoke, another feeling clenched at her stomach. What if this was just a trick of the darkness? What if this was the final act in the monster's cruel game? "You need to know," the voice continued, haunted yet soothing. "There are secrets wrapped around us like the very shadows you fear. Secrets that bind us to this place. Tell me," Sarah urged, inching forward, desperation carving lines on her face. "I can help you. We can escape." A glimmer of a smile played on Amy's lips, but it was warped by an overwhelming sadness. "Not all of us wish to be saved, Sarah. Some truths are meant to remain hidden." With that, the darkness surged, swirling around them, and suddenly, Sarah was pulled into a rapid whirl of fractured memories, each infused with anguish. Two figures loomed large, entwined in a dance of chaos, her laughter echoing with Amy's. Then, she saw another Jordan, his eyes vacant, calling for help that never came. The memories spiraled, dragging her down into a pit of faces and voices, crashing against her like ghostly waves. "Stop it!" she screamed, trying to claw her way out. But the whispers grew louder, each one adding to the cacophony of regrets and what-ifs. "I can't handle this." "Embrace it," the figure that had once called Amy demanded. "Face your fears. Each person left behind is a weight you carry. Will you let them sink you, or will you rise?" A jolt of anger flared within Sarah. The truth hit her like venom coursing through her veins. If she didn't confront this darkness, it would swallow her whole. "I won't be a prisoner of my memories," she shouted, her voice trembling but strong. "I refuse." The shadows melted before her resolve. But a new scene played out, a stark, menacing image. Jordan lay sprawled in a cold, dark alley, a twisted reflection of himself. The memory clawed at her, pulling forth gut-wrenching regret. Had she ignored him too? Had she chosen laughter over his cries? Sarah's heart raced. "What happened to you, Jordan?" she cried, flailing against the tightening dark. "Where are you? Am I a ghost now?" A voice, weak yet familiar, echoed beside her. Jordan's face formed in the darkness, a shadow of its former self. "You left me, Sarah. You all left me." "No, that isn't true." Sarah's breath quickened, panic slithering through her veins. The shadows twisted and surged, highlighting her figures of loss. Amy, Jordan, others all lost because she did not recognize the signs, because she had closed her eyes to the darkness. "Please, you have to understand," she began. But the darkness shrieked, drowning her words. "Do you really want to face the truth?" The creature rasped from somewhere deep within the shadows, its voice now a mocking blend of all her fears. "To uncover the secrets themselves, you must let go of everything you think you know." The ground felt unsteady, and the room closed in, constricting like a vice. "What if I can't bear it?" she whimpered. "Then you lose," the creature hissed. Sarah's pulse thundered in her ears, her mind racing. The real test was before her. She was on the edge of a precipice, her body trembling with the weight of choice. What would she discover if she took that step into the void? Would uncovering the truth finally offer freedom, or would it lead her straight to damnation? As she stood poised on the brink, shadows swirling, flickering with ominous anticipation, a chilling thought struck her. Could her greatest fear be revealing not just the truth, but something far worse, a betrayal buried deep in her heart? Sarah's heart raced as the shadows coiled tighter around her. Each whisper and moan tugged at her sanity, a chorus of regrets filling the empty spaces. She felt as if she were drowning in sorrow, the weight of lost moments pressing down harder than the darkness itself. Betrayal? Her voice was unsteady but loud, echoing against the oppressive night. "What do you mean?" The figure that had once been Amy stepped closer, and for a brief second, Sarah thought she saw a flicker of clarity in her eyes. "Your heart has been blind, Sarah. A betrayal of your own making," Amy replied, her tone clipped but filled with a profound sadness. "Are you ready to open your eyes?" With every word, the shadows thickened, swirling around Sarah like a storm. She choked back a scream. "No, don't say it. I can't bear to hear it." "Then you will suffer," Amy whispered, as her essence flickered like a candle. The darkness enveloped Amy, and in that moment, a bright light ignited within Sarah's chest, as though defying the shadows. "Let me feel," Sarah cried out, embracing the light. With each heartbeat, she forced herself to remember moments shared with both Amy and Jordan, laughter drowned by oblivion. The faces of those she had lost flickered around her like ghostly imprints, revealing the mirrors of her guilt. Jagged images cut through her, splintering her resolve. The night Jordan had begged her for help surged forward. The frantic tone of his voice echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder that she had turned away. "I didn't mean to, Jordan. I thought you'd be okay without me." But the darkness was relentless. "You thought wrong," it hissed back, the air thick with accusation. "And now, you will never unsee what's been hidden." Sarah's stomach lurched. "What do you want from me?" "Confession," the creature growled. "Lift the veil of darkness. Only then can you find peace. The shadows surged, pulling her back toward the images of her past, demanding acknowledgement of her failures. The betrayals woven through the lives of her friends like a poisonous vine. They fed off her fear, and she felt the weight of every secret pressing down on her. No, she gasped, backing away. I can't face them. Not now. Suddenly, an overwhelming wave of sorrow enveloped her, and she was on her knees, her eyes shut tight against the swell of memories. Images of Amy's contagious laughter faded into desperate phone calls, while Jordan's cries twisted into accusatory whispers. The pain clawed at her chest as she gasped for breath. Face it, the shadows demanded. Face the betrayals. Face the truth. Swallowing hard, Sarah's hands trembled at her sides. Could she do it? Confess everything? The guilt clawed at her like thorns, each one prickling her skin with the stinging poison of regret. What if this was her last chance to unearth the past? The truth clawed at her throat, desperate to be released but terrifying in its potential to renounce her very soul. With one profound breath, she spoke. I should have listened. I should have been there for you both. I chose to look away. I betrayed you. The darkness hissed, a sound both malicious and mournful. As the words hung in the air, the shadows recoiled, writhing in agony. Moments later, silence descended, thick and suffocating, an eerie calm that made her skin crawl. She opened her eyes to find the darkness morphing, shifting into something new, something palpably alive. But the air quivered with uncertainty, and before her lay something she hadn't anticipated, a revelation cloaked in dread. Now you've acknowledged, but are you ready for what lies behind the veil? The shadows lifted, revealing a haunting truth Sarah never could have prepared for. A terrible secret, tangled in the lives around her, and it was hungry for release. Questions gnawed at her thoughts. What did it mean? Could she handle the weight of further betrayal? With every turn, the abyss grew deeper, and Sarah felt herself teetering once again. Did she have the strength to confront what awaited her? Or would the truth be yet another wound too deep to bear? And just like that, the door to her fate began to creak open, inviting her into a darkness anew. The darkness pulsed, inviting yet threatening, like a labyrinth of despair awaiting its lost souls. Sarah stepped forward, her breath shallow, haunted by the weight of her confession. The figures surrounding her morphed, twisted into a misty tableau of faces long gone, eyes locked onto hers with desperate longing. She felt their pain, their betrayal bubbling up from the depths of her heart. What do you want from me? She screamed into the void, the shadows growing more restless, skittering away like frightened mice. They were shadows of her past, but what truth lay beneath their formlessness? You've touched the surface, dear Sarah. A voice slithered through the haze, deeper, richer, filled with a predatory hunger. But are you willing to plunge deeper? Are you prepared to see what they had to sacrifice? Images imploded around her, and old friendships severed in anger, a betrayal disguised as a simple mistake, a cruel choice wrapped in chaos. Each scene played out in slow motion, agonizingly vibrant, like memories held captive by the darkness. And then she saw it. The moment when Jordan's pleading eyes morphed into a hideous mask of rage, the raw hurt unfurling like a banner announcing her failures. He had been under her roof, begging for help, and she had turned him away. Sarah. The whispers clawed at her eardrums. Face it, you turned your back. No, she shouted, hands flying to her ears, but it was futile. The words seeped through like poison, curling around her thoughts. The truth gripped her insides, an iron vice tightening until she gasped for air, desperate for freedom from her ghosts. With a jolt, she realized their faces were now unrecognizable, warped by the anguish of forgotten stories sealed by her negligence. What do you want? She repeated, her voice faltering beneath the pressure. Admit it, they beckoned. Embrace the darkness. This is the only way to free your soul. A scream lodged in her throat, a visceral snarl of anger and regret. She staggered back, dropping to her knees. The weight of their expectations crashed over her like waves. I can't do this. But as her hands pressed into the cold, hard ground, A spark of determination ignited. Burrows of rage smoldered within her chest, and she raised her head, defiance coursing through her veins. "I will not be a prisoner of my betrayal," she bellowed, the words a revelation. "I refuse to run from who I've been." The shadows paused, hung suspended in a state of disbelief. Had her outcry changed the course of this reflection? Suddenly, they erupted into anguished wails, swirling faster, each cry layering atop the other, creating a cacophony that shook the very foundation beneath her. "Release her," they shrieked, voices twisting in a haunting harmony. "She is not worthy of redemption." Unearthly shadows crashed against her, forcing her backward until she collided with an unseen wall, pain shooting up her spine. As darkness closed in around her, she felt her pulse race, adrenaline coiling her muscles, transforming fear into a fierce weapon. "Stop! I will face the truth," Sarah howled, reaching out. The shimmering light within her flared brighter, momentarily illuminating the twisted forms, exposing fragments of their twisted pasts. Each flickering memory cried out for recognition, and unsettling truths were forced into the edges of her consciousness. The intensity built, a thundering tempest of emotions, and she pressed on, struggling through the layers of agony, demanding to see the whole picture, to grasp the entirety of what lay before her, and in that moment, a name echoed through the chaos, deep, haunting, and oh so familiar. It sent icy fingers crawling up her spine. The whispers sharpened. "Are you prepared to face the one who waits?" The shadows reeled back, Lore's weight in tow, finally revealing a shadowy corner, a familiar curve, a dark smile, a face she thought she could forget. Was this the truth she'd unearthed? Could she confront the real source of her fears? Or would she succumb to the very darkness she feared? As the air thickened, Sarah's blood ran cold. The encounter she had been avoiding stood mere inches away, cloaked in the enigma of her past. "Face her," the shadows urged, their whispers a hypnotic trill. Face the truth. What did they mean? Who awaited her in the gloom? Fear tangled with curiosity as she inched forward, heart hammering in her chest. She could feel the intensity swell, stretching the silence taut. And then came that voice, dripping with disappointment. "Why did you let me go, Sarah?" It was a question from the dark, one that would shatter her very existence. "Is it time to answer?" The shadows twisted closer, the air electric with anticipation. Beneath layers of horror, the revelation was just beginning. The darkness drew closer, thickening until Sarah felt it suffocating her. The voice, once a familiar echo of her past, now felt like a vice around her mind. "Why did you let me go, Sarah?" Pierced through the void, sharp enough to cut. "Stop," she gasped, trembling. "Amy, please." A shadow slowly emerged, twisting into a figure she couldn't quite decipher. Just a silhouette at first, but soon the contours sharpened. The smirk on Amy's face split her heart open, raw and exposed. The memories rushed back. Those late-night talks, laughter laced with secrets, the thrill of shared dreams and the weight of unrealized promises. But now all that remained was a sickening void. "I offered you help," Amy purred, her voice sweet yet dripping with an unsettling bitterness. "And you turned me away." "No," Sarah's voice trembled. "You didn't understand. I was trying to protect you." "Protect me? Or protect yourself?" The shadows shifted, morphing into a thrumming tableau of despair around them. Faces twisted in anguish, accusing eyes aglow, all reflecting her cowardice. A chill lanced through her. Had she truly turned away from the very friend who needed her the most? Did her actions seal Amy's fate? The echo of regret curled tightly around her chest. I didn't know what to do," Sarah cried, desperate. "Didn't know?" Amy's laughter echoed hollow, bouncing off the walls of her mind. It resonated with a cruel mockery. "You think ignorance is a free pass? You made your choices, Sarah. I was drowning and you watched." The shadows buoyed her anger, whispering words of encouragement, coaxing her to admit the truth that thumped heavily like a heartbeat. Was it really true? I was afraid," she shouted, clutching her head, trying to drown out the chaos. "Afraid of losing you. afraid of facing the pieces of you I didn't understand. Fear is a cage and you locked me inside. Amy's eyes, now blazing with intensity, bore into her soul. You left me to fight my demons alone. The intangible walls began to close in. The cacophony increased, screams mingling with the whispers, building into a thunderous roar her thoughts, the shadows, and the memories swirling together in an overwhelming deluge of guilt. Embrace it, the shadows beckoned. Embrace the darkness within. No, Sarah yelled defiantly, rooting her feet on the ground, anchoring herself. She remembered the late nights filled with promises to support Amy, the just one more drink that spiraled into nights of chaos. It all became so real. Just as the shadows threatened to pull her under, a powerful light flickered to life within her. She forced herself to take a step toward Amy, trembling but resolute. I am done running. If I did that to you, I want to know the truth. I want to understand. The eyes that had once been so alive seemed to flicker, an unknown emotion flickering beneath the surface. Was it hope, or just a reflection of her own desperation? Then open your eyes, Sarah. Look for what you ignored. Look closer. The shadows pulled back, allowing a glimmer of clarity. A flood of vivid memories rushed upon her. Party gone wrong. The screams of warning she had dismissed. The unmistakable desperation in Amy's final moments. No. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as images materialized before her. Each was a haunting glimpse of denial, hurt piled upon hurt, like layers of a rotting onion. This wasn't just about her past, but a festering truth that refused to be buried any longer. As she pieced together the vision, a realization cut through the haze. What if the realization tremored across her mind, sending chills down her spine? What if it wasn't only her demons? What if there was something darker? The shadows stirred, coiling around her, desperate to drag her back, but Sarah held firm her ground. A sudden shriek broke through, a tumult of voices demanding her attention. The truth is more dangerous than you know. The air crackled with tension, and Sarah felt her heart race. Was this truth simply a mirror or a gateway to something unspeakable? The darkness roared, buzzing around her like angry bees. She could feel it with every fiber. It wanted to consume her. But she knew she had to face it all. Perhaps revealing these secrets would lead to something greater or merely to despair. As she stood amidst the chaos, the haunting voice pressed deeper into her mind. Are you truly ready to uncover where it all began? Fear and determination collided within her, igniting the spark of truth. With that, she stepped further into the shadows, heart pounding. She would either break free from this prison or become lost within it. There's no turning back now. The darkness trembled with promise, swelling as the path narrowed. What awaited her on the other side? What would she find buried in the depths of her darkest memories? The shadows whispered and churned around Sarah, breathing life and deceit into every corner of her mind. The realization had ignited a fury deep inside her. It swelled with urgency. If I am to confront this, I want to face everything, she shouted, voice echoing against the walls of darkness. The shadows paused, a moment of stillness unfolding as she pressed onward, determined to uncover the hidden layers that wove through her life and those she'd lost. Is that your choice? The familiar voice slithered through once more, a taunt nestled in its depths. Dare you step closer to the heart of anguish? I will, she declared fiercely, though her heart thundered in rebellion at the thought. I'm ready for everything. As she closed her eyes, the memories washed over her in furious waves. She saw them, Amy, Jordan, all of them, their faces bright at first, soon clouded by pain as the scenes shifted, parties that dissolved into chaos, laughter that faded into frustration. Not a single sign of call for help that she hadn't overlooked. Each one knocked down another piece of her resolve. Was she complicit? Had she turned away when they needed her most? The fear gripped her throat, tightening as images twisted dark and sorrowful. Warren, another friend, was slouched in an alley, shadows swirling around him like tendrils of regret. You left me too, his voice echoed faintly, but it wasn't an accusation, more a plea for understanding. Warren, she breathed, heartbroken. Guilt crashed over her like a wave, and she stumbled as it pulled her under. I didn't mean to, I never thought fate isn't forgiving. The shadows hissed, a tumultuous laughter riding the air. But remember, these choices matter. They weigh heavily, and denial may lead you straight into darkness. No more. I refuse to be defined by fear, she screamed, rage bubbling over, igniting that familiar flicker of determination, battling against the unseen forces that yearned to drown her in anxiety. I am not a bystander. Not now, never again. One by one, the moments began to shift. Just as the shadows began to swirl again, she held on fiercely. She would see it all. What if the darkest truth is linked to me? She whispered, pulling strength from the depths of her heart. What if everything led here? Each choice, every whispered call for help. Correct. The whispers grew louder and more chaotic. Fiends wrapped in sorrow. Your fate is tied to their plight. Do you grasp the weight of that truth, sweet Sarah? A realization washed over her. The darkness was never only about Amy or Jordan. It was sewn into her fear, her cowardice when it came to reaching out. With each choice she turned away from, she had woven a tapestry of sorrow. Then let me break it. She lunged forward, her voice trembling with defiance, punctuating the shadows around her. The darkness recoiled as if wounded, and the room throbbed with energy. Surging forward, the deepest regrets wrapped around her heart, binding her to those lives. She understood now. She had to accept everything, the joy and the pain, the friends lost and the moments kept at bay. Tell me, what do I need to do? She roared into the dark, a thunderous echo that rippled away from her. Face the source, came the reply, shaking the air. With sheer intent, the shadows splintered, clearing a path before her. Sarah felt a rush of trepidation, heart racing as she stepped forward into the cauldron of raw emotion, ready to spill out. And there it was, the truth she sought, festering now, revealed in stark contrast. A mirror of ambition and betrayal, a moment captured under the most blinding of lights. A party replayed itself in haunted clarity. She gasped, recognizing the scene immediately. The laughter, the glimmer in Amy's eyes, the warning signs swirling around her like the dance of ghosts. Jordan was there, calling into the chaos, but drowned by the noise. And there she stood in the background, a semblance of courage but cloaked in denial. You can't. Look closer, the phantoms urged, their voices climbing, pleading through layers of sorrow as each moment cracked open. The depths of emotions clawed deeper. She approached her past self as if drawn by currents of electricity. What was it? The desire to protect? A hunger for acceptance? It was both everything and nothing. And within that chaotic swirl, she searched, her eyes meeting Amy's desperate plea, just as festering secrets bubbled to the surface of her mind. No, don't go there, Sarah shouted, desperation spilling forth as dread clawed at her heart. Not now, not ever again. But it felt like a riptide yanking against her. The moment cracked, her thoughts splintered. She saw it all. Amy's darkness, Jordan's plea for help, how she had concealed their pain under layers of indifference. Each sob echoed as it ripped at the very fabric of her reality. Face it, the shadows boomed. Accept the consequence, or you shall forever be their prisoner. A raw scream burst from her throat as she fell to her knees, bringing her hands to her trembling face. No, please. But even in her turmoil, she started whispering the words beneath her breath. I forgive myself. I forgive, all must be seen. They insisted, a rising swell of energy threatening to eclipse her. I am ready, she gasped, eyes now wide open. I will face you, all of you. Whatever I have to bear, I will accept it. The shadows surged, twisting around her, but surged with illuminating clarity. Amy, Jordan, this is for you. In that moment, the darkness folded away, and the air rushed around her like a cleansing tide. Breaths surged through her lungs, filling her with fire, determination pouring from the raw wound within. The weight of betrayal began to soothe, lifting like a fog born of acceptance. And then, in that same breath, she saw them, faces materializing in the fragile light. The the past twisted beneath the weight of truth, regrets morphing into bittersweet awareness of long-lost companions who smiled once, beckoning her into the embrace of an old friendship that recognized both vulnerability and resilience. A release flowed through. The darkness receded, shadows quivering as they dissipated like waking from a nightmare. "I choose to face the truth," she shouted, exultantly feeling the last vestiges of their pain melt away. Then, she turned away from the haunted relics of her memories and towards the path ahead. "There's so much more to discover and heal," she exclaimed into the once festering emptiness, now alight with new possibility as Sarah walked away from the darkness. The whispers grew quieter, ebbing into the distance. She felt lighter, almost giddy in the dawning light of hope. No more would she hide in silence but embrace the truth in all its rawness. It wouldn't bring her friends back, but maybe it would save others lost in shadow. And as the sun broke through the seams of night, she promised herself she would share her journey, that others wouldn't walk away. "Elmwood will learn," she murmured, stepping into the world anew, determined to shatter the cycles threaded through their lives. In that moment she found release, freedom, and the strength to move forward. Now, listeners, this is your moment. Don't let stories like these slip away. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.